Welcome back to Bluebird Studios. I'm your host, Alex. Allow yourself to drift off and relax as we explore the life of Ross William Ulbricht, the king of the dark web. Imagine a world where buying anything you desire is just a click away, where anonymity reigns supreme and the government has no say in how you live your life. For one man, this is the reality he desired. This is the extraordinary life of one of the most notorious kingpins in the world of the dark web. This is the story of the Silk Road and the man behind it all. Welcome to the dark and twisted world of Ross William Ulbricht. It's October 2nd, 2013, and the rise of the Silk Road is undeniable. In a staggering display of its power, this illicit online marketplace has already facilitated over $1.2 billion in transactions and amassed a jaw-dropping $200 million in profit in less than 2 years. This underground hub, often likened to an eBay for illicit substances, has become a magnet for thousands of suppliers and over 1 million clients, offering a wide range of illegal goods from passports to an array of narcotics. But how did we get here? How did a young boy from a middle-class family in Austin, Texas, rise to become the king of the dark web? Born on March 27, 1984, Ross William Ulbricht was raised in a warm and loving household in Austin, Texas. His father, Kirk, a home builder, and his mother, Lynn, a freelance writer, provided a stable and supportive environment for Ross to grow up in. From a young age, Ross exhibited a strong sense of curiosity and a passion for learning. He was well liked by his peers and actively engaged in activities such as the Boy Scouts, where he eventually achieved the esteemed rank of Eagle Scout. Ross graduated from Westlake High School in Austin in 2002, home to former NFL star Drew Brees. His academic prowess earned him a full-ride scholarship to the University of Texas, where he delved into the realm of physics and graduated with honors in 2006. His insatiable thirst for knowledge led him to Penn State University, where he immersed himself in the intricate world of solar cells and crystallography as an aspiring engineer. During his time at Penn State, Ross distinguished himself by co-authoring a series of academic papers that garnered recognition in renowned scholarly journals. By this point, it should have become clear that Ross William Ulbricht is an extremely intelligent person. After graduating from Penn State, he made his way back to Austin, Texas. There, he established a nonprofit website known as Good Wagon. He set out to gather and distribute books to those in need. Through his efforts, he not only supported prison literacy initiatives, but also made a positive impact on the surrounding neighborhoods of Austin. By this time, Ross's interests had transitioned from the realm of science to the tumultuous world of politics. Specifically, he found himself closely aligned with libertarian beliefs, fervently advocating for a minimal government role in the economy. In his eyes, individuals and businesses should possess the autonomy to make their own economic decisions without interference from any higher authority. Furthermore, as a devout libertarian, he staunchly supported the notion that individuals possess the fundamental right to make choices pertaining to their own bodies, free from the interjection of any external authority. Ross William Ulbricht, fueled with his newfound beliefs and sense of purpose, ventured to Silicon Valley to launch his own startup, Underground Brokers. Despite his intelligence, he enlisted the help of his college friend, a skilled computer programmer, to assist in the creation of the website. Shortly prior to launching Underground Brokers, Ross made a crucial decision to rebrand it as the Silk Road, drawing inspiration from the famed historical trading route that linked China to the Mediterranean. The Silk Road was not merely a physical path of commerce. It was a complex network of trade routes that served as a conduit for the exchange of goods, culture, and ideas between the East and the West. Along these ancient pathways, commodities such as silk, spices, precious metals, opium, and luxury goods flowed freely, fueling the rise of powerful empires, fostering cultural exchanges, and facilitating the dissemination of religions such as Buddhism and Islam. In renaming his website the Silk Road, Ross sought to evoke the spirit of exploration, discovery, and interconnectedness that characterized this pivotal period in human history. After launching the Silk Road on a hidden website, on the dark side of the net, Ross posted an anonymous message. It read, "I am Silk Road, the market, the person, the enterprise." I need a name drumroll, please. My new name is Dread Pirate Roberts. On February 8th, 2011, the Silk Road was launched. However, the Silk Road was not just a website you could search for on the internet. No, the Silk Road operated in the mysterious depths of the dark web, where only those with the proper software could navigate to. To access this elusive marketplace, one needed to install the Tor browser, a software that triple encrypts internet traffic and shrouds it within layers of proxy servers. This complex network made it nearly impossible for prying eyes, as it triple encrypts internet traffic and bounces it through layers of proxy servers, making it difficult for anyone, including the FBI, to trace the traffic from its source to its destination and vice versa. Tor operates as a labyrinth of secrecy, a digital cloak and dagger that kept the Silk Road hidden from those who would soon seek to dismantle it. The Silk Road evolved into more than just a marketplace. It became a community of like-minded individuals who shared similar beliefs and values. It was a place where people could interact without fear of obstacles, engaging in the trade of illicit goods like illegal substances without government interference. The Silk Road acted as a revolution against conventional norms and restrictions, a tribute to the power of technology and the freedom it could provide to those willing to embrace it. However, regardless of the website's location, whether it be on the regular internet or the dark web, Ross William Ulbricht needed to find a way to drive traffic to the Silk Road. With marketing in mind, Ross began to post on Bitcoin forums, where he would talk about the Silk Road. Eventually, once Bitcoin was mentioned, it led people back to the Silk Road, as the Silk Road is in large part responsible for driving Bitcoin into the limelight. For those that don't know, Bitcoin is a decentralized digital currency designed to operate outside the purview of traditional financial institutions and government oversight, embodying the values of libertarianism. Offering a level of anonymity unparalleled by conventional payment methods such as credit cards, Bitcoin transactions are facilitated by sophisticated cryptographic technology, ensuring both security and privacy. This anonymity was crucial in allowing users on the Silk Road to remain unidentifiable, shielding them from potential government involvement. Should the Silk Road have simply used various credit card companies as its form of payment, the government would have subpoenaed these credit card companies that would have quickly identified all parties involved, shutting down the Silk Road before it ever was able to get going. Once on the Silk Road, the inner workings of the online marketplace were reminiscent of platforms like eBay or Craigslist. Sellers would first create an account, allowing them to post their listings for potential buyers to see. Similarly, buyers could browse through the multitude of items available on the site, searching for specific products and comparing prices from different sellers. Reviews played a crucial role in the decision-making process for buyers, as they could gauge the reliability and quality of sellers based on feedback from previous transactions. Factors such as shipping speed and product satisfaction were key considerations for potential buyers on the Silk Road. Just as in traditional e-commerce platforms, trust and credibility were paramount in fostering successful transactions on this digital highway. Individual sellers and buyers were responsible for completing all transactions on the Silk Road. Sellers bore the burden of delivering the product, packaging it securely, and ensuring its timely delivery, while buyers were required to ensure that the Bitcoin payment reached the seller's Bitcoin wallet. With each sale made, Silk Road would skim off a percentage as a transaction fee. In the early days, Silk Road was a hub for a multitude of illicit dealings, including the trading of weapons. However, Ross, better known as Dread Pirate Roberts, the mastermind behind the operation, made the bold decision to put an end to the sale of weapons on the platform. This move led to the removal of such transactions to a separate website, setting a new course for the Silk Road's future. Stolen property and stolen data were also strictly prohibited on the Silk Road. However, items that DPR considered to be victimless crimes were permitted on the site, which included the sale of illicit substances, fake IDs, and passports. The Silk Road also offered instructional guides on how to conduct business in a discreet manner. These guides included tips on avoiding detection and staying under the radar. For sellers, a detailed guide was available on how to properly wrap and package products to ensure that they remained unnoticed during transportation. On the other hand, the buyer's guide presented techniques for receiving packages secretly, as you had to provide a shipping address to receive your package without leaving a trace back to the recipient. It was a comprehensive library of knowledge on navigating how to avoid detection, as sellers and buyers being caught would have been bad for both the Silk Road and Dread Pirate Roberts. On June 1st, 2011, about 6 months after launching the Silk Road, the site had done millions of dollars worth of transactions and had caught the eye of an online blog called Goshirt. Goshirt wrote an article diving into the dark world of the Silk Road. Essentially, the Goshirt piece confirmed that the Silk Road was a place where you could buy and sell illicit substances in a relatively safe and discreet manner. Due to the Goshirt piece and their comprehensive expose of the site sparked a wildfire of interest in the website, drawing in a flood of new users eager to partake in its forbidden fruits. However, this newfound fame came at a cost. As the blog post gained traction, it also caught the watchful eye of law enforcement agencies across the globe. Every three-letter agency came knocking, launching a full-scale investigation into the operations of the Silk Road. Despite their best efforts, the authorities found themselves ensnared in the intricate web of anonymity and encryption that is the Tor browser that the Silk Road was built upon. After a long year of looking into the Silk Road, they were no closer to unraveling the mysteries of this digital black market than they were at the beginning. The saga of Silk Road and its enigmatic founder continued to captivate the world, leaving a trail of intrigue and controversy in its wake. As the shadows grew longer and the stakes higher, one thing remained clear: the story of Silk Road was far from over. During that summer of 2011, the Silk Road had expanded its reach, bringing buyers and sellers together from all over the world with just the click of a mouse. At the bustling hub of Chicago's O'Hare International Airport, ICE HSI agents were diligently keeping watch over international mail for any signs of illicit activity. What caught their attention was the alarming surge in the arrival of illicit substances. Despite the collaborative efforts of agencies like the DEA and FBI diving into the matter, the enigma of unveiling the intricate network of the Silk Road and Dread Pirate Roberts continued to elude them, as all the packages had fictitious delivery addresses and no return address per Silk Road guidelines. Meanwhile, another three-letter agency was able to come across a man by the name of Curtis Green, whose name on the Silk Road is Chronic Pain, an address that agents got from a mail order on the encrypted Silk Road website. After uncovering his presence on the site, Green was swiftly recognized by authorities as one of the administrators. Green was also a seller on the Silk Road. In June 2011, Green posted to the Silk Road user forum that he would be selling illicit substances on the site. Green stated that although he was new to the Silk Road, he wasn't new to the game, and that he would wear gloves while mailing packages and would use post offices outside his hometown. After being on the Silk Road for 7 months, Green ranked as the 72nd best seller, with a 100% positive feedback rate after completing 101 transactions. Green shared Ross's libertarian views. However, he was concerned about people's safety and wanted to try to help people minimize any harm that these substances could cause them. According to court documents, an undercover agent began communicating with the Dread Pirate Roberts in April of 2012, offering to sell a substantial quantity of an illicit substance that resembles the look of snow to a seller on the site, who could then list the substance for sale on the Silk Road. Green eventually became involved in the deal and agreed to accept the shipment of illicit substances, which would then be given to a seller to sell on the Silk Road. As a result, Green used his actual address for the delivery address for the delivery of the package. Now that agents had Green's address, they performed a controlled delivery of the package. Tanya Green, who is Curtis Green's wife, recounted the day when the package showed up, stating, "Curtis said he didn't order this," referring to the package. She states Curtis went on to say this isn't right, so Curtis took the package back outside and wrote wrong address on the package. Tanya went on to state that her husband is a very curious person, and that after a couple of hours of the package sitting on their front steps, he decided to bring the package inside the house to open it. When Green finally opened the package, his fate was sealed. The DEA was promptly notified that the package had been opened through the use of an electronic notification device and began their raid on Green's house. Just as quickly as the raid started, it was over with Green being arrested on charges of possession and intent to distribute over 1,000 grams of cocaine. It was reported that as the handcuffs clicked into place, Green's facade of composure shattered into 1,000 pieces. Tears streamed down his face as he pleaded with authorities, uttering chilling words of fear and desperation. In a moment of stark realization, Green exposed his profound vulnerability, confessing his dread of an enigmatic figure lurking in the shadows of the dark web. Known only by the ominous moniker of the Dread Pirate Roberts, this spectral presence wielded an unfathomable power over Green. So who was Curtis Green? Curtis Green, an early confidant of DPR, found himself grappling with a persistent health condition that demanded a steady supply of pain-relieving medication. In his interactions with DPR, Green noticed a conspicuous absence of dialogue surrounding harm reduction strategies within the online community of the Silk Road. This realization sparked a profound sense of responsibility within Green, prompting him to broach the topic with DPR and advocate for its inclusion in the forum discussions. Acknowledging the critical significance of harm reduction measures, DPR entrusted Green with the pivotal role of overseeing the Harm Reduction Forum, a position he embraced. In the hierarchical structure of the Dread Pirate Roberts operation, Curtis Green held a position of trust as a lieutenant. Tasked with the role of handling customer service, his interactions with DPR did not bring authorities any closer to unveiling the true identity of his enigmatic leader, as Green only knew Ross as Dread Pirate Roberts, a faceless, murky figure on the dark web, but Green didn't know anything of value as to who Dread Pirate Roberts was. Green did state that if you are employed by DPR, you must provide him with a copy of your driver's license so that he has all your essential information, including your address. When DPR found out about Green's arrest, he grew concerned that Green might reveal sensitive information to authorities. Eventually, Green proved DPR right and decided to collaborate with agents who exploited his access to the Silk Road to lawfully obtain tens of thousands of dollars in Bitcoin from the website. Green was also able to show authorities the inner workings of the site and how it worked. After Green's arrest through activity on the Silk Road website, DPR was concerned that Green may have betrayed him and begun cooperating with authorities. The mastermind behind the notorious online marketplace known as the Silk Road, Dread Pirate Roberts, found himself in a precarious situation after feeling betrayed by one of his own associates, Curtis Green. Determined to rid himself of this thorn in his side, DPR took matters into his own hands, delving into the dark world of contract killing. With no such services advertised on his site, DPR reached out to a man only known to DPR through the screen name Nob on the Silk Road website, a shadowy figure with cartel ties operating under the alias Hilario Chavez in the Dominican Republic. Unbeknownst to DPR, Nob was actually an undercover DEA agent. It was alleged that originally requesting Green to be beaten and tortured, DPR's thirst for vengeance grew stronger as he changed his request to a more permanent solution: elimination. Promising Nob a hefty sum of 40,000 Bitcoin upfront, with an additional 40,000 Bitcoin upon completion of the task, DPR was fully embracing his role as a kingpin and the violence that comes with it. The DEA agent, disguised as Hilario Chavez or Nob, meticulously carried out his mission to deceive DPR. Green's house became the canvas for a harrowing performance, as staged photos of his torture and fabricated images of his death were meticulously produced. The elaborate ruse successfully fooled DPR, who believed the job had been accomplished. Around this time, DPR began to be blackmailed by some of the sellers on the Silk Road, saying, "If you don't give me X amount of Bitcoin, I'm going to go to authorities about you and the Silk Road." It's alleged that feeling confident in the results of his first murder for hire, DPR had no reason to change the way he handled those who betrayed him. As federal prosecutors alleged that in response to the mounting pressure of the blackmail, DPR reacted by soliciting the murder of 5 people and paid over $730,000 to make sure it would happen. He viewed these people as a threat and needed them to be eliminated. Prosecutors believe that no body was harmed due to DPR's murder-for-hire plots. In 2013, an FBI agent found themselves peering into a misconfigured Silk Road website that was hemorrhaging sensitive information. It was essentially bleeding. The digital breadcrumbs ultimately guided the FBI to the website server, which was nestled in a data center in Reykjavik, Iceland. Desperate for the server, FBI agents flew to Reykjavik and got in contact with the Icelandic government, as they would need their approval to leave Iceland with the server. The FBI agents laid out their case and the importance that the server had. After some discussion, the FBI agents were permitted to leave Iceland with the server and bring it back to the United States. By examining the server logs, the team discovered that a single individual was accessing the site to perform administrative tasks from a specific location, San Francisco, California. Simultaneously to the FBI's investigation, an IRS agent named Gary Alford was assigned to a task force dedicated to taking down the Silk Road. The task force, hitting every roadblock imaginable, was seemingly stuck, so Alford decided to take matters into his own hands. He revisited the investigation with a fresh perspective, starting at square one. One of Alford's hunches was that the mastermind behind the Silk Road would have had to advertise the website somehow, most likely on the regular internet. So, he began Googling the Silk Road with different dates ranging further and further back, digging deeper and deeper into the web. It was during this investigation that Alford stumbled upon a pivotal discovery. Hidden away in the archives of a Bitcoin message board was the very first mention of the Silk Road. And, to his astonishment, the creator of this post had used their real email address, roselbricht@agmail.com. This slip-up would prove to be Ulbricht's undoing. Ross had recognized his mistake shortly after posting on the Bitcoin message board and went back to cover his tracks by deleting the post. Unbeknownst to Ross, the digital trail had already been set in stone as somebody left a response to his initial post, which saved his original post as a thread to the response to the Bitcoin message board. Alford also uncovered that the individual in question was using the screen name Frosty on various other websites, which was connected to the russellbrecht@igmail.com address. Delving deeper into the online footprint, Alford proceeded to investigate the linked social media networks associated with the email address. What Alford found on Ulbricht's social media accounts were views that uncannily mirrored those espoused by the notorious DPR. The parallels were undeniable, and the pieces of the puzzle were beginning to fall into place. A background check on Ross revealed that he had recently been questioned by federal authorities in San Francisco. The FBI had interrogated him regarding his order of 9 counterfeit IDs from Canada, which had been confiscated. In response, Ross vaguely suggested a connection to a platform such as Silk Road when agents asked where he had gotten the counterfeit IDs. He replied by saying something along the lines of hypothetically from a place like the Silk Road. After interrogating Ross, the agents simply filed a report and then let him go. Alford made the decision to reach out to the FBI's Silk Road Task Force, sharing every nugget of information he had painstakingly uncovered. When the name Frosty left his mouth, it elicited a visceral reaction from the agent on the other end of the line. As it turned out, the computer logging onto the Silk Road server that was recovered from Iceland went by the moniker Frosty. In their sights, with the puzzle nearly complete, all that remained was to apprehend Ross William Ulbricht, famously known to his supporters as the Dread Pirate Roberts. On October 2, 2013, federal agents conducted surveillance on Ross Ulbricht's residence in San Francisco as part of their investigation into the Silk Road. Among the agents, there was Agent Darajan, who cleverly assumed the identity of a trusted staff member on the dark web marketplace, gaining the confidence of the notorious Dread Pirate Roberts some months ago, now known to authorities as Ross William Ulbricht. One that day, Darajan sat in a cafe nearby Ross's house, keeping track of DPR's online presence on the Silk Road. When DPR eventually logged off and Darajan spotted him across the street, agents discreetly tailed Ross to the Glen Park Library, where he logged back on. Darajan, using the staff chat as a guise, requested DPR take a look at a restricted section on one of the Silk Road forums, a move that required Ross to log in to the Silk Road as the Dread Pirate Roberts. Timing was crucial, as the laptop had to remain open, as agents feared that if Ross were to close it without logging off first, it would encrypt the laptop, rendering all the information on it unreachable. Ross, unsuspecting, complied with Darajan's request and logged into the site. Once Darajan notified the other agents that their target was logged into his Silk Road account, agents stormed Ross, leading to his arrest without incident. This arrest not only brought down the Silk Road mastermind, but also played a role in allowing Curtis Green and his wife to finally come out of hiding and reclaim their lives. Allegedly, chat logs retrieved from Silk Road servers suggested that the Dread Pirate Roberts had supposedly paid for multiple murders to be carried out. Following his arrest, Ross was swiftly whisked off to New York to stand trial, where he was hit with a laundry list of charges, which included aiding and embedding the distribution of narcotics, distributing controlled substances on the internet, violating narcotics laws, aiding and embedding trafficking laws, money laundering, and engagement in a continuing enterprise also known as the Kingpin Statute. The authorities amassed a wealth of incriminating evidence from Ross's online accounts, the Silk Road server, and his personal computer. They also managed to secure testimony from his college friend, who had assisted in setting up the website, further solidifying their case against him. Despite the efforts of Ross's defense to portray him as a mere pawn being manipulated to take the fall, he was ultimately convicted on all charges. In a desperate bid for leniency, Ross pleaded with the judge prior to sentencing. However, his pleas fell on deaf ears as he was handed down 2 life sentences plus an additional 40 years behind bars, with no chance of parole. Ross now resides at USP Florence, a maximum security federal prison in Florence, Colorado. The severity of Ross's sentence came as a shock to many, considering he had not been charged in connection to any of the alleged murder-for-hire schemes or violent crimes and was a first-time offender. In light of these circumstances, there are now organizations advocating for Ross's sentence to be commuted.